So DhiWise is a Surat developed by Surat-based company of my friend Vishal Virani, and today Vishal Virani is going to present us DhiWise and how visual programming can be used to cut down 50% of the development time on most popular frameworks like Node or Laravel, React, Kotlin, Swift, Flutter, etc. So let me introduce Vishal over here. Vishal is an entrepreneur with prior experience in scaling up bootstrap startups. He is currently a PLG guy working on scaling up DhiWise, and he has done pretty well at that particular thing also, because as I understand, DhiWise is now having 20,000 plus users and 10,000 plus projects with 5,000 plus hours of productivity delivered within last 6 months of its launch itself. So it's always a pleasure to talk with Vishal and know new things with him. So today I am sure Vishal will be sharing few new things that we can take note of and learn from. So without consuming much time, I would like to invite Vishal to take the dais and demonstrate how the next generation visual programming can be done with DhiWise. Vishal, welcome, and thank you for your time today. So please take over and do your stuff.
Thank you, Tejas. Thank you for inviting me for this session. And I'm allowed to talk about more about visual programming and how DhiWise can solve day-to-day problem. So let me share my screen so I can go with my presentation and I can talk more on that. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, so it's all about like visual programming, and we heard this word from last so many years, and there is a multiple way to talk about the visual programming, like from the VB.NET, where you can drag and drop the components and you can build the program. From that day to like right now, if we talk about the latest IDEs, such as for an example, Visual Studio, or if we can talk about Xcode, where we develop the mobile applications like Swift. Everywhere there is a kind of a gist of often visual programming, but this word is not popular in itself, so we are always go with the traditional programming tactics, and we are using some of the part of visual programming, and that's why we come up with the idea of DhiWise, where we are talking about the next gen visual programming, where 60 to 70% programming should be done via visual things, and rest 40%, which is like a core part where developer actually needs to give their focus, that should be done by the actual coding part. So that's how we come up with the idea of a next generation visual programming. So let's understand like what is the visual programming versus the text-based computer programming that we are doing. It's very simple. Like visual programming, language that we can illustrate, the language that we can speak, the language that any person can understand. So ultimately, visual programming enables developers to explain every process in easy words instead of like a traditional text-based computer language where we need to think like a machine. So ultimately, our entire concept is to remove that particular part of kind of a particular part of problem from the entire process and give a power to developers so they can think creative in terms of an actual programming, not in terms of a mundane task. So it's like this right now. Situation is coding is like handling the big mess. Like even after 3 years, if I want to look at my own code, I said like, okay, who write this rubbish code? And then I realized, okay, it's my own code. So every time, every year, when we grow, when we understand more tactics about programming, we see other code as a mess. Like, okay, this is a very big mess. We started always with that particular part. So right now, situation is like that. And as we are in 2022, and still it's a very big pain because 60 to 70% software programming is still monotonous. As a programmer, as a software industry, we are giving an automation solution to each and every other industry in the world. But if we look at our own industry, is like most mundane and the manual one. LinkedIn is full of flooded with the developers. Every IT company is in need of developers. With every new project, you need to hire more and more resources. Every older project where it required a very high maintenance, you require more and more resources. So when we talk about the automation for the entire world, why we are still in that 60 to 70% of the manual work? As I said, like we are using kind of a visual programming in some of the automations, but still we do a 60 to 70% programming manually, and it's in repetitive. Second thing, we know this is a very big problem. Every new resource that is coming out of college, they want to work on latest technology. And if we look at to the entire landscape of the entire world, still people work in VB, C Sharp, and other technologies. And now it's very difficult for them to get the good resources. And ultimately, our technical debt of overall world, and like because like it's more than $1 trillion according to the McKinsey and few other reports. So technical debt is continuously increasing. And if we look at the last 5 years of the landscape, it's rapidly increasing, just because like every year there is a new technology or there is a change in the version of the technology. We started with, let's say, a first version of the Node.js. Within the 4 years they launched 16 new version. And for the security reasons, every time you need to upgrade your versions and everything. And if you are working on the large scale project, it is very difficult, and that's how you are carrying your technical debt with you, which is continuously increasing. Third, maintaining the technical documentation after every piece of code. Again, for the developer, they like when they come out of college, or when even they have lots of experience, they want to work on code, not on the documentation and rest of the part. They want to work on logic. They want to solve the problem. But they, after writing every piece of code, they ended up with like spending lots of time in the technical documentation and all, and it's required. So you cannot avoid it. So that's the third. Fourth part is knowledge transfer. So when there is a change in any new resource or introduction of new resource, knowledge transfer is a very big cost, because your senior developers needs to involve in that process. So you are spending your 1 month of time of your senior resource and 1 month of the time of the new resource who is joining your team to do all this knowledge transfer process, which having a very big cost. And last, modifying code during the maintenance or someone else code is a nightmare for the developers. So that's why I'm saying it's still 2022 and still software industry is in this pain. And that's why we come up with the idea like what should be there in the perfect world. And like, okay, code should be handled like an art. We need to have that kind of interface where we can solve our rest of the part, and we can focus on the things that really matters to us. So that's why we come up with the idea of DhiWise before 9 months. We started developing this particular product in month of April, and within 2-3 months we launched our first alpha version. Still we are in beta. It's not the 100% product, but we are trying to solve this particular part. And how we are solving, we are taking some of the metadata, design files, and DB schema, which is required for any of the software like backend, front end, mobile application, whatever you are building. We develop multiple algorithm on the distributed server. We process it on our core engine, and in return we will give you the source code of backend, Node.js and Laravel. On the mobile application side, Kotlin, Swift, and Flutter. And on the front end website, React source code. And it will be 100% like clean, scalable, and customizable source code, which you can modify. So source code ownership will be with the developers only. DhiWise will only help you to automate your mundane and the repetitive tasks. And let's see how it works. So like it's just a 10-minute overview of how what is the visual programming, what kind of pain we are trying to solve. And now let's look at the actual application that we are building right now. So it's very simple cloud-based application. You don't need to do any kind of setup. Just with an email ID, you can do a sign up. You can create any new project. Let me set up one project for Surat, and it's done. So with this, you can select any technology that you want to develop the project on, like Node.js, Android, Flutter, Laravel, and iOS. Let me start with the mobile application. So you just need to upload your designs. You don't need to do any kind of a drag and drop. Whatever design you receive from your UI UX person, which is either in Figma, Adobe XD, or Sketch, you just need to put up the credential, and that's it. Or even if you just want to play around with DhiWise platform, you can use our templates. Or if you have just an idea, kind of an MVP, then we have a pre-built library of all the designs. Like we have more than 100 screens available. So let's say if you want to do any kind of an authentication, you just need to add this screens into your buckets. Like, okay, this is the 3 or 4 screens that I want to develop on. Or as I said, like we can go with the template. So let me take right now one e-commerce template. So like this is in 37 screen of application. So we know like if you want to build in 37 screen of mobile application with a responsiveness and everything, it will at least require 15 days with the quality and all. So instead of that, you just need to upload your designs. We will automatically render all the components from your Figma to this particular DhiWise canvas. And how we are solving that particular part of documentation, let's consider you are a very new on this particular project. So when you just click on your project, you will get to know like, okay, there is a to navigation is already set up. There is no API integrated has been done. So you don't need to go through the entire code. DhiWise UI will work as a kind of a basic documentation for you. And in future, we are going to add more and more things. So you will have the kind of a technical documentation as well. Second thing, the biggest part that every developers do is like, okay, whenever there is a screen, they see the Figma design and, sorry, this is in preview. So they know like this is in button, this is in text box, so they write the code for it. So how we solve that particular part? Like when you see this, like we automatically detect all the component. Like, okay, this is my image view, this is my text view, this is my edit text, this is my app compact button. And right now I can proudly say that like we have the highest accuracy in entire world. And when I say I mean it, because like we benchmarking all the tools. Those are the funded company from Israel, USA. The way they detect the Figma component, no one having like more support of more than 8 to 10 components. And you can check any application, like there is Anima application, I can give a lots of reference about it, who are a kind of a multi-million-dollar company based out of Israel. And right now, DhiWise is detecting more than 50 components, and still our dedicated team is working on it. Right now, we have accuracy of like 60 to 75% on this particular designing part. But within the next 1 or 2 quarters, we are going to hit 95% of accuracy of detecting all the component in the right way. And right now, let's say for you, this is a button. So how this visual programming work? So you just need, if you want to convert it to kind of an, instead of an image, if you want to convert it into button, you just need to select, okay, which component do you want to do? Change view, text view, app compact button. Let's say app compact button. I just need to set the property, demo, color, and text size. And this my image will be converted into button. So you can, if we are not having the accuracy, if we are not able to detect any of the component in the right way, then you can convert any of the component into whatever component you want. So we give that flexibility to the developer. Now the second best part, now let's say if you want to do a login with Google functionality, create action, authentication, Google, and your Google authentication has been done. Same way, let's say if you want to set up a navigation, or if you want to set any other action, you can directly do it from here. Second thing, like, okay, is it simple designing that we are converting, or do we have any other facility? So we have a facility where you can create as many API you want. So it's a backend agnostic. Like, if you are building on PHP, Shopify, whatever it is, you just need to upload your Postman collection, or you can create manual API over here. So with the Postman collection, all the API will be reflected over here. I have 4 dummy API. You can set up your common headers and everything. So once you upload your API, then you can directly integrate with it on any of the screens. So let's say if I want to integrate my API on this, create action, API integration, and I just need to select, okay, this is my login API. Will automatically detect all the keys. So username, and I want to map my username. So we have a facility where either you can say get it from the view, or you can get it from the preference. So we are going to get this username from this field. So I just know map this thing. Same way, password, select field, view, and password. So my request handling has been done. Same way, if I want to map my, let's say, email name, email with this particular view. So my response handling has been done. On success, I want to navigate user on a dashboard. So let's say this is my dashboard. Done. On error, I want to show alert. Which kind of alert? Dialog, toast, or snake bar? Let's say alert dialog. Error. Do I want to set a custom message, or from the response? From the response, and I want to show the message from the API. So my entire API has been done. And believe me, I don't know anything about the Kotlin. If I have the knowledge about my backend, and every time backend guy work with your front end or mobile application developers, transfer all the knowledge and frustrations and all those things. But with visual programming, if you know the basic thing, you can do the 30%, 40% of the work. And in future, like there will be nested API, logic builder, and lots of stuff. So that's how, like, with the minimal resources, you can get your application done. So I just within the last 5 minutes, like at 1:11 exactly we start. Within the 4 minutes, we uploaded 37 screen of application. We integrate one API. We did authentication setup. We convert one component, and now I'm building the application. So same way developer build the application, we generate complete MVVM structure code. So you can see the package structure, application navigation, the libraries that we are using right now. We are using Retrofit, and for the API calls, we use the Glide, Coin, and everything. SDK version is 30. So we give all the information, like when we generate the source code, what kind of SDK versions and libraries we are using. and what will be the entire package structure. With even if you have 100 screens, system will take maximum 3 to 4 minutes to convert entire design into a code, and it's developer centric code. It's not something like, okay, we will generate all the vectors, we will code according to vectors. We are detecting components, we are using the we are creating the reusable component automatically and everything. So this is our readme file. All the layout file will be automatically generated with the ProGuard rules and everything. So you not need just to spend time on your project setup or anything. So if you can see like, okay, this is all my layout files. Again, the entire readable code, the way you write the code and everything. So we will generate layout files for all the codes, as well as for the responsiveness, like we will generate the kind of an XML for all the DBs, like from 1080 to 660, 780 and everything. So your application will be complete responsive across all the devices and everything. We will write your ProGuard rules. As I said, we will set up your Gradle files. Even you can set up the runtime permission and everything. It's not something, as I said, like it's not just restricted up to one thing. Like there is a lots of actions that you can do it on this particular screen. So let's say if I want to set one more action on this, create action. So you can set up alerts, you can set up navigation, permission, authentication. Even you can integrate your Firebase as well. So if you don't want to upload your APIs, and if you have the Firebase setup ready, you can directly integrate your Firebase setup. You can set up the back navigation, everything, date picker and all. Even you can set up the properties. So if you want to change any of the ID, you can directly do it from here. You can set up the life cycle of this particular screen and everything. Now, the main question that comes in mind, like how it's different than the no code and low code platform. The first thing, you will be the owner of your source code, so you can export it, you can download it, you can directly sync it with the Git repositories and everything. Second thing, for any of the no code and low code platform, you need to start it from the fresh code. But with the biggest USP of DhiWise is going to be like, okay, if I just want to export the code of this one screen, I can directly export the code of this particular one screen. So if you already have a 30 screens of application, and now if you just want to develop 2 new screens in your project, or if you are redeveloping the screens, so you can get the only UI code, or you will get the UI code with the data binding. So like within the 1 month, we are going to release such kind of features where you can use DhiWise at any point of time. You don't need to wait like, okay, if I have the new project, I can start on DhiWise. Like you can build your application, you can modify your application at any moment of time. And again, in the Kotlin, Swift and Flutter, all of this, you can set up your product flavor and all. So this is all about the Android's mobile application. We have a very similar UI for the Flutter as well as this particular Swift. We have a facility of linear layout, constraint layout and everything. You can work in a collaboration, so you can invite other team members as well. So it's not like only one person can work on this particular project. Second part that we have is a backend. So now I can directly select my template, or I can go for my blank application, or if it's generated on the DhiWise platform, you can import your entire folder on DhiWise platform. So after modification on DhiWise code, still you can maintain your entire project on DhiWise platform. So we have that facility as well. You can select the application port. We have a facility of like MongoDB, MySQL, PostgreSQL and all databases. I just need to set up my database name. In which architecture you want to generate your code, MVC or a clean code architecture. Create application. So here is my Node.js dashboard from where you can manage your models, authentication, routes, platform configuration and everything. We have a facility where we have a kind of a VS Code extension. So whatever code we will generate on DhiWise platform, you can directly get it into your VS Code by just do a few clicks in the VS Code. So we have that integration. We have a sandbox deployment. We have a Swagger integration, everything. You can directly download the Postman collection, as well as we have the CLI. So let's start with creating the first model. So we have a very simple UI from where you can create multiple models. You can manage your hooks and everything. Again, everything is visual. So for an example, right now, if I just need to write the logic of this pre-save, which is like core part. So you just need to focus on this particular logic instead of writing the entire code for you. So let me take one example of, so we have a library as well. So if I want to use the blog, if I want to create the blog models, so this is an 18 fields. Within the one click, I can set up my blog model. I can add more fields. I can upload whatever number of JSON that I have. So we have a facility where you can upload multiple JSON, you can upload the single JSON, and you can create the entire model over here. You can set up hooks, you can set up indexing as well. So this is a predefined library. So we already have a logic of pre-save hook as well. So whenever there is a new developer, again, he just need to go through this device UI, and he will get to know like, okay, how many hook has been set up, what is kind of in schema, how many models is there. So you don't need to go through the entire code file. You just need to look at the device UI, and you will get to know about the entire project and what kind of things are there. Now, when I have these two custom models, I can directly go for my CRUD API generation. So I save this. Now for the API part, I just need to, instead of writing the entire CRUD APIs, I just need to set up the permission. So let's say we have a two database table. And now if I want to create the CRUD API, so I don't want the delete functionality on my mobile application side, update, I want to just remove this. Or if I want to update any of the, so for an example, if I just want to set up particular file, so I don't want a hard delete update, so I can soft delete or hard delete. So I can customize my any of the attributes. So the whatever way you want to develop your CRUD APIs, you can directly configure within the DhiWise platform and update. Yeah. And we have a facility where you can set up multiple constants, you can write your middleware code, you can set up the role access and everything. So if you have the multiple sub users, then you can also set up the sub user codes. We have a configuration facility from where you can directly select like, okay, user type, login permission, you can set up the authentication, like, okay, by which medium you want to send your two-factor authentication, by email or by mobile application, you can configure a template and lots of other functionality, which may take lots of time to explain, but this is just in gist of the entire platform. Notifications socket, if you want to set up the activity log, by within one click, you can set up the activity log, you can set up the date format for your single data table or a multiple data table. And even if you are going to expose your API, you can set up the rate limit, attachment upload settings and everything. So after setting up my CRUD APIs and everything, when I build the application, we have two facilities. Either you can directly build and deploy, or you can just build. We will generate the entire clean source code with the clean code architecture. And right now we are working on the logic builder. So in 1 month, we are going to release it in production. I will just show like, yeah. And even if you have 100 plus data tables in your database, like, and if you want to write the API and everything on DhiWise platform, again, it will take only 1 to 5 minutes to generate the entire source code. So this is the README file, like what kind of structure we have, the config file, constant, helper, and everything. We will generate the Postman collections, entire JSON of my Postman collection, all the constants, controller, config files, my log files, middleware, and everything will be auto-generated on DhiWise platform. And if I want to just deploy it, I can directly run and I can check on my sandbox, like my endpoint is working or not. And right now, the things that we are working on is this, where we are trying to build the entire logic builder. So let's say if you want to introduce any of the node, so when you draw the flow diagram, you will get the code of the entire logic. So let's say if I want to, now customer is asking for one facility where he wants to send the SMS or email via AWS. So you don't need to write the entire code. I just need to select this subject demo to demo@dhwise.com, and template is this, demo is this. So my node will be automatically added. Now on this response, I want to send the AWS message. So my code will be done. So that's how we are going to automate entire logic part as well. So whoever new developer will come, he is going to get to know like, okay, this is the thing that has been set up over here. And every time, like even if you have 100 developers, you will get the same quality code. So every time you don't need to worry about like the problem that we are facing, like with every developer, there is a new style of writing the logic. Here is you just need to focus on your workflows and everything. So now if we go back to the point one where we are talking about the problem, how we are trying to solve it, it's not 100% yet, but we are in that particular direction, and definitely we are quite confident, like within 1.5 years, we are going to fix all of this problem. So 60 to 70% software programming is still monotonous. So the way we automate the designing, the way we automate the logic building and everything, ultimately by the next 2 quarters, we are going to achieve 60 to 70% of the programming automation. So you don't need to focus on the monotonous work. Second is the technical debt. So the way we structure, the way we create the structure of entire DhiWise. So let's say we are taking only metadata. So this is your metadata. Now, right now we are working on the Node.js version 1. And after 1 year, it's like Node.js version 2. So we are just going to set up our backend thing, and on one click of build the application, you will get the latest code structure, latest architecture and everything. So you don't need to modify any of the code. The way we are working is we are just taking the metadata from you, and by just doing 1 day of job or 2 day of work, you can upgrade your entire version on the new technology stack. So right now, Flutter 1 is there now. In last month they released the Flutter 2 before 2 months. So we have a support of Flutter 2. Now, if Flutter 3 comes, we will provide the support of Flutter 3. And within one click, you can have your Flutter 3 application ready with you. So that's how we are going to reduce the technical debt, maintaining the technical documentation after every piece. So as I said, like the way we are creating the entire application, the way we are doing this thing. So after writing the code, we do a flow diagram, or after drawing the flow diagram, we go for the code. Here you just need to do one of the things, and a second thing will be automated. So that's how like the entire UI of DhiWise will be going to be like in that way. So you can maintain your technical documentation very easily without putting any minute of efforts. Knowledge transfer process. So definitely, if the documentation is there, if the UI is that simple, your process of handover is going to be very easy. And the last part is modify code during the maintenance. So let's say if any new developers come here, and if I want to change anything in this if loop, I just need to set this okay. I just need to change this value and it's done. I don't need to touch any of other code. And second thing that we are going to do is like the biggest problem. If I did this, my few other things will be stopped. So in DhiWise Logic Builder, you will have that kind of an intelligence. If you are modifying any of the API, DhiWise system will suggest you like, okay, this API modification may impact 3 other APIs or your 3 other functionalities. So do you want to do this change, or are you aware about it? So the manual error will be reduced a lot, and DhiWise will take care of all that communication internally. So right now you communicated manually to your developers, and then he recall everything, and then he will take care of it. But here system will take care of all the backend communication, all the part. So that's how we are going to reduce the pain of maintenance of the project as well. So that's all about visual programming. Now, if you have any question, like you can ask. Hello. Planning to launch website anytime soon? So we already launched our website. Like you can go on DhiWise.com, you can directly do a sign up. So we are already there, and every 15 days or every 1 month we are launching new features. So whatever I showed to you is already live, a part of this logic builder part, and logic builder part is going to be live very soon. So our website is already live. You can just go for. Yeah, for web development is next month. So we are launching our React builder in the month of, on the date of 31st January. So we have a launch week next week from the 31st January to consecutive next 5 days, where we are going to launch Logic Builder, Figma to React part, as well as few other main functionality, where there will be a kind of an nested API things in the mobile application side. So you can build the entire logic in your mobile application. You can hide and show. So it's a kind of a conditional UI that we are launching next month, 31st January to 5th February. I think this is where you are on mute. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, Vishal, so really nice presentation, and it's really good tool that I have seen over here that you have demonstrated. Definitely, I am sure that people would be using it much to the benefit of themselves and the community at large. And your update and release plans are quite challenging as it seems, but I'm sure with the team at your back, you would be able to deliver and meet all those deadlines. So I don't see any other questions right now. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, so okay. Fine. So I would like to ask the question: why do you have plans to develop any desktop application builder?
So right now, not right now. We are just focusing on the mobile app and the like all the latest technology stack because the way we do the research and everything, we want to focus on the mass instead of because it's in SaaS. So ultimately, still we have more than 19,000 users, but we didn't get single request for the desktop application. So we don't want to go with that. Maybe yeah, definitely there will be support of Python and few other technologies on the backend side. But right now our focus is to complete the entire cycle. So Node.js and the Flutter is on the top priority, where we want to cover 100% perfection with all the test case generation and everything. And once we get the product market fit on this that two technology, then we'll push other technologies into picture because then we just need to replicate the model. We don't need to replicate the thought process.
Yeah, makes sense. So best luck for that also, and I wish you that you reach even 100% coverage of all the technologies very soon, right? And you get a very huge share of the market for the visual programming platforms and domain. So best luck for that. And with that, I would like to thank you for your time. And I wish that you had consumed more time and drill down a bit, right? So if you still wish to do that, we will be all happy to look at your demos.
Instead of drilling down, like if I have the kind of an interactive session, so I can show you that particular place because like otherwise it will take 3 hours 4 hours if I go with the entire in detail demo because we have lots of features are there. So like if anyone wants to know the particular feature how they can manage that particular part, so I can go into detail of that particular thing.
Yeah, so let's plan a separate session or a workshop on that. So we can have a workshop of DhiWise at AIC SURATi Lab where we can invite programmers as well as students, and you can take them from zero to a full application development within
Sure. So
1 week.
even like right now we are working on one kind of dev advocate part where there will be 30 days of 30 use case. So after our launch week, like we are going to deploy a dedicated person. So every day they will build one use case on the DhiWise platform. So recently we were in talk with Freshwork CEO, and we build the entire Fresh Team application on the DhiWise platform. We like replicate the design of Fresh Team and we integrate their open APIs because they have the open API. So within the 5 minutes, like how we can reduce the 7 days of time that we demonstrate on that particular platform, the way we handle the entire request response, the way we integrate the API and all that part. So we are going to launch our 30 days of 30 use cases in next month. So like in one of the use case, we can take that workshop at the SURATi Labs as well.
Yeah, that would be a great idea, right? So anyway, thank you for your time and thank you for showing us your product. We will be soon planning your use case stuff, and I would like to thank all the audience also for the time and being present over here. Thank you all and have a nice evening. Bye for now.
Okay, thank you. Bye.